Welcome to Finance with Avern. In this video, I'm going to show and tell you about my top 5 favorite high interest online savings accounts. Now, these are accounts that have some common features and we'll go over those, and then pros and cons. Now, depending on what's important to you, some of the pros or some of the cons may not be as important. They may not be pros or they may not be cons. And first, we're going to get into the common features, which are pretty much like what were my requirements to be on this list, basically. It's just some basic requirements and the common features that all of these accounts share and have in common. And then also, before we jump into my top 5, I've got a couple of honorable mentions. So without further ado, let's get into it. So what they all have in common, all of these accounts are FDIC insured, which FDIC stands for Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. You're going to want that for your money in a bank account, definitely. Something goes wrong with the bank, something goes under, whatever, your money is protected. It's not one of those cases where it's like, oh, the company's restructuring or going under, you may or may not have your funds. It's like, no, FDIC insurance, your funds are secured up to a certain amount. Usually it's 250,000. If you have a joint holder, it'll be higher, 500,000, but typically 250,000 is the up to insured amount for the FDIC insured for these bank accounts. Next, no monthly fees. Now, for some accounts in traditional banks, there's monthly fees going on, especially if you don't have like a minimum amount in your bank account. You'll get charged, $4 or $5 up to $10 sometimes monthly fee just for having an account with them. It's like, but for these accounts right here, no monthly fees right here. So that's definitely a requirement. No monthly fees. You don't have to have a minimum balance to not have a monthly fee. Just no monthly fees in general, no matter what your balance is. Next, no minimum balance required. So you don't have to keep a certain balance in your account for it to stay active or to avoid a monthly fee. Those both kind of go in tandem right there. But in general, there's no minimum balance required for any of these accounts. You can have $1 in them. You can have zero. But if you're going to want to start earning interest, you definitely want more than zero in the account for sure. So next, interest deposited monthly. So for these accounts right here, some of them compound the interest daily, some of them compound the interest monthly, and we'll talk more about that later, but all of them are going to deposit that interest monthly. So every month, usually beginning of the month, the first, second, usually the first for these accounts, you'll see that interest amount pretty much drop into your account of the interest that was accrued, gathered, compounded that month, daily, or however it was compounded. You'll have that interest amount deposited in your account monthly. Next, interest rate applies to entire balance. Now, with this one right here, because some accounts, they have the interest rate where it's like, okay, well, you get this interest rate for this amount of money, and then it drops to this, and then it drops to this, or it goes up to this if you have this amount of money, or it goes up to this. But if you only have this amount, then it'll be like 1%, or if you have this amount, it'll be 1.5. For all of these accounts, the interest rate that's stated, the APY, applies to the entire balance in your account. Next, mobile app. All of these accounts have a mobile app, which in this day and age, 2022, that's the requirement, right? I mean, a mobile app, you have access to your account 24/7. You want to check your balance. You want to start some moving funds or anything like that. Mobile app, super convenient, in the palm of your hands, pretty much always with you. That little computer, it's in your pocket, in your hands, in your bag. All of these accounts have a mobile app, so you can access your account whenever you want to, as long as you have an internet connection. Next, can transfer funds for free to and from other bank accounts. Now, this is definitely a requirement when you're, funding your account, or you want to transfer some money from your account to another account. Maybe an emergency came up and you need to pull something from your savings account to your checking account or somewhere. You can do that with all of these accounts. You want to deposit some into your savings account from another account. You just got paid direct deposit. Maybe you don't want to direct deposit into your savings completely. Maybe you're going to split it. And that goes into this next requirement. Direct deposit is supported for all of these accounts. So all of these accounts support direct deposit. So you can deposit, your whole check or part of it, however you want to, into any of these accounts, how you want to. And then going back to the transfer funds, so you can have your direct deposit just go to your checking account. But then maybe every month you want to transfer $100, $200, something to your savings account. You could do that with all of these accounts. You can set it up. Usually you can set it up automatically with certain bank accounts. And that kind of depends on maybe your bank account that you're transferring from or whatnot. But for these accounts, you could transfer funds for free to and from. Now, your other bank account that you're transferring to and from, there may be a fee associated with them, so definitely check that out. But for these savings accounts, they will not charge you to transfer funds to or from. And also, going back to that, direct deposit is supported for all of these accounts. So that is it for what they all have in common. Now, there's some other things that are kind of similar, and you'll see it when we get to the pros and cons, but they don't apply usually to all of the accounts. So this was pretty much what applies to all of the accounts. First, before we get into my top 5 favorite best online savings accounts, we're going to go into 2 honorable mentions. And now also I must state that all the information for these accounts, the pros and cons, the APY, the interest rates and everything, that is as of August 2022. So, things change, features change, and definitely interest rates are changing. With the Fed raising the fund rate, that typically lets banks, kind of gives them motivation to raise their interest rates. So some of these rates may go up within the next month or so. Some of them recently went up. So just so you know, as of August 2022 is what this information is from. So next, before we get into our top 5, like I said, we're going to get into 2 honorable mentions, starting with first, the American Express High Yield Savings. Now, for the pros, we got 1.25% APY. The APY stands for annual percentage yield. Then we also have the interest is compounded daily, and then 24/7 support via phone, and also no initial deposit required. Now, before we jump into the cons, I want to talk a little bit about the interest compounded daily. Because like I said at the beginning of the video, I have some things in pros, I have some things in cons, but they may not necessarily be pros or cons to you. This is just a general pros and cons. Some of these aren't that many cons to me, and some of them aren't really pros to me. So, and I'll get to the specifics when I get to the specific bank I actually use for my savings, which is on this list. So interest compounded daily versus monthly isn't something that's really that big of a deal. You may necessarily think like up front, like, oh, daily is better than monthly, no matter what, right? Not necessarily. In a sense, it's not that big of a deal unless you have like a large abundance of money. Like I'm talking millions, then you may notice slight difference in that interest right there. The main thing you want to look for in savings accounts when it comes to the interest is that APY. So in this case, it's 1.25%. That's the main thing you want to look for in the savings accounts when you're focused on interest. Because if you have an account, for example, that's getting, okay, we'll say in this case right here, 1.25% and the interest is compounded daily. Then you have an account that's got 1.5% APY interest, but the interest is compounded monthly. Now you may think, oh, daily, that's more days than monthlies, right? So I'm going to go with the based on interest and nothing else. Nothing else matters. You just interest right there. You're going to say, oh, I'm going to go with the daily because, the interest rate is lower, 1.25 versus 1.5, but the interest is compounded daily. So that's better, right? No, not necessarily. You want to go with the higher APY in this case right here. You want to go with the 1.5%, even though the interest is compounded monthly. And we won't go too deep into this, but just so you know, it's more important for that APY to be higher than the compounded monthly versus daily because they're both going to be paying the interest on a monthly basis. So the monthly is going to be compounded on that. So you're going to get that interest. So if you have, $500, whatever, and then after interest that month, you got $510, where the next month you're going to have the interest on that. So even though for the monthly and for that daily, pretty much. So you're going to have interest compounded on your interest for both accounts, but you're going to want that higher 1.5% for that example instead of that 1.25% if you're just laser focused on interest. So daily versus monthly, not that big of a deal. And you want to focus on the APY basically. So sorry for the tangent. I just wanted to talk about that because it is going to be in each of these accounts, the interest compounded daily versus monthly. Because I know for some people that may be a pro or a con. So I'm listing it on here for those people. But for a lot of us in general, the APY is going to be what you're going to be more focused on when it comes to the interest specifically. Okay, cons. For cons, we got no debit or ATM card, no mobile check deposit, and no physical locations. And for these savings accounts, some of the features are lacking because of the lack of a checking account, basically. So with the savings account, they generally work in tandem and work better, have more features kind of available to them if you have a checking account with that same bank. And we'll talk about that more as we get into these other accounts and everything here. But for American Express, the American Express checking account is currently available to consumer credit card members of American Express that have had a card account for 3 months or longer. So just for American Express, that they do offer a checking account, but under some stipulations and everything. All right, and here's the American Express high yield savings account right here on their website. Just kind of give you a sense of how it looks and everything, how it's mapped out. At 1.25% APY. So 24/7 superior customer service, it says right there. And some of those other features that are standard pretty much with all the accounts on my list right here. The no minimums, no monthly fees, and FDIC insured. And there's that compounded interest, compounded daily, deposited monthly. Simple transfers and auto deposits. Well, that, of course, then you have like the graph, the tool to kind of see how your money grows with the interest rates. And these companies right here, these bank accounts, they definitely like to compare their rates to, national rates at brick and mortar, banks and everything. Because at a traditional bank account, with 0.0 something percent is what you're going to get from a savings account. So having something over 1% is going to be much, much better than that. Definitely. If you've got a bank account, you got a savings account, you're getting less than 1%. You definitely got to check out the rest of this video. And even if you don't, just for informational purposes, you should just check out the rest of the video. But definitely if you have a low interest savings account, because there are all these accounts in this video right here are over 1% in interest. So definitely suggest moving money over there is what I would do personally. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money, of course, or anything. This is for informational and educational purposes. And yeah, that is the American Express website. Of course, they got the frequently asked questions and everything right here. And this one is a big question. A lot of people have the ATM debit card and everything like that. And how American Express presents it, they say savings accounts are not meant for everyday spending. So ATM cards, debit cards, or checks are not provided. So like I said, it could be a pro for some people is if they were provided. So this definitely could be a con for some people that is not provided and everything like that. But the way American Express are trying to market it is like, hey, this is not for spending, this is for savings. You don't need that, right? So that's the American Express website right there for their high yield savings. So let's get to the next honorable mention. Marcus by Goldman Sachs Online Savings. Pros, we got 1.5% APY, interest compounded daily, 24/7 customer support via phone and chat, no initial deposit required to start the bank account, and then the Marcus Insights tool, which is a savings feature tool, and we'll jump into it. I'll show you some of that, which you'll see on the website and everything for what they show us. And then cons, have no debit or ATM card, no mobile check deposit, no physical locations, and no checking account option. So, and with that no checking account option, Marcus by Goldman Sachs is actually currently working on a checking account that may be available later this year. And with the mobile check deposit, this is a feature, I'll explain it to you just in case you're like wondering, like, what do you mean by mobile check deposit? Mobile check deposit is basically where you can use the app, within the app of the bank account, you can use your camera, take a picture of a physical check, and then have that physical check deposited in your savings account. Just like that. It takes a couple days, usually sometimes you'll see the amount not available yet funds, depending on the account, how it's set up and everything. But it will be deposited typically just like a normal check would be deposited if you go to the bank and give them the check to deposit into your account. But you don't have to do that with the online savings account and these mobile accounts that have this feature. You could just use the camera with your phone within the app, take a picture of the check, and it will be deposited into your account. It's super seamless, works great. I've used it for the savings account that I have that's on this list, and I'll talk to you about that. And also for another bank that I bank with, Bank of America, they have a mobile check feature. So I've used it with them as well. And I've used this feature several times with that bank and the bank that's on this list that I'll tell you about. And it works great. Definitely a great feature, something that pretty much is a requirement for me with an account like this. All right, and here's the website for the Marcus by Goldman Sachs high yield online savings, that 1.5% APY annual percentage yield right there on that online savings account. Of course, FDIC insured. And this is the Insights tool, so we're definitely going to check that out. And so here's the Marcus Insights, which I was telling you about earlier with their savings tool. This is a smart tool to help you optimize your money. It states that our free tools and trackers bring your financial accounts together with personalized insights to help you make empowered financial decisions. Now available on the Marcus app and Marcus.com, even if you're not already a Marcus customer. So that's interesting. It's available even if you don't have an account with them. Of course, their app is available on the Apple and Google Play app stores. So look at the Insights tool. Our tools and trackers link your accounts from thousands of institutions to see your finances together in one place. Definitely can help with budgeting and kind of having your money all in one place, kind of seeing what's going on right there, just keeping track of it. Organize your finances. Money management can be tedious. Marcus Insights could help by bringing your savings, investments, and spending accounts together in one place. Learn something new, see your spending, saving, and investing habits, visualize your cash flow, and more. No spreadsheets or manual expense tracking required. Optimize your money. Built by Goldman Sachs, which is a major corporation. Of course, Goldman Sachs is one of the largest banking institutes in the world, pretty much right there. So yeah, Marcus Goldman Sachs. Marcus, they call it Marcus. Marcus was one of the founders of Goldman Sachs. I believe it's Marcus Goldman was his name right there. So yeah, he's one of the founders of Goldman Sachs. So that's why it's called Marcus. I know at first you think like Marcus, what is Marcus? But that's the name of one of the founders of Goldman Sachs. This is Marcus. So yeah, built by Goldman Sachs. Our tools and trackers are designed to help you see your money clearly and make empowered financial decisions. Create your free Marcus account. There you go, the app. No Marcus loan, savings account, or CD account required. There. So you can just make an account with them to use that financial tool without having an account with their actual, banking platforms and everything right there. So link your financial accounts, get your insights. I might have to actually check this tool out. It seems pretty neat. So yeah, just gotta see how it looks in person. But yeah, it looks neat from what I gather on this. Got a good amount of information on it on their website. Let's go back to their high yield savings and see what else is going on there. All right, of course they have the tool. A lot of these different companies and everything have that savings tool just to kind of let you see how interest works and see how it can, pretty much compound and gain and everything, which is definitely neat. Compound interest is one of the, what do they say? They say compound interest is like the eighth wonder of the world or something like that. One of the wonders of the world, So it is something that is very important in finance and personal finance is compound interest for sure. So there is Marcus compared to some of the other banks right there. National average of APY 0.38%. Good grief, that is low. That is like nothing right there almost. But just, what was it, last year, I believe, or something like that? One of the accounts that I use that I'll tell you about specifically once we get to it, their APY was only 0.5%. It was higher than that when I started. Then it went down, and then it went back up. So it kind of goes along with that Fed funds rate and what's going on in the macro economy right there. One reason why these rates are going up, and they've been going up so aggressively at these online savings accounts, is because the Fed has been raising the fund rate pretty aggressively in this past year right here. So especially this year, 2022. So yeah, that is working in the favor of savers for sure. It's going to cost more as far as you want a loan, you're buying a house or buying a car. Typically, those rates go up. But if you're on the saving side and you're saving more, this is definitely a great time to take advantage of that and have some money parked away in a savings account and add to it for sure. Don't just put money in the savings account, definitely add to it. So yeah, there's the online savings tool right there. Link accounts. We went over the Marcus Insights and everything. Got a couple of awards, testimonials, frequently asked questions. So this is a good one here. How do I fund my Marcus High Yield Online Savings Account? So they have the funds, transfer funds from a linked external account. We talked about that. Set up direct deposit. Of course, another requirement to get on my list right here. You can mail a check in or send a domestic wire transfer, because this one doesn't have that ATM access or debit card access or anything like that. So these are the ways you would fund that account right here. All right, so there we go, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and call them right there. And that is the Marcus by Goldman Sachs High Yield Saves Account, that 1.5% APY currently. Okay, and now let's get into my top 5 favorite online savings accounts. Number 5, the Capital One 360 Performance Savings. For the pros, we've got 1.3% APY, mobile check deposit, has physical locations. Now, they don't have a ton of physical locations. You definitely want to use the map tool on the account, on the website, to see the locations. If that's a big, requirement for you or anything like that, just see, because for me, where I live, there are no locations around me close by. Now, I could get to one if I needed to, but not for where I live. They're scattered across. And they also have like a cafe feature, which they're doing in tandem with, I believe, a Pete's Coffee Shop, or one of the coffee shops, where they have like a coffee shop / bank where you could do some things like open an account, and different things like that within Capital One there as well. So it's pretty neat. Sounds pretty neat. So yeah, but they aren't in abundance. They're in certain states, certain areas. Definitely check out the website if you want to see specifically where they're located. So let's get to the rest of the pros. No initial deposit required to start the account. And they also have a checking account option that you can use in tandem with the savings account to open up more features. Because, like, let's say right here for the savings accounts, They are not eligible for debit card use with Capital One Performance Savings. To access your savings account via ATM, you must move funds to a Capital One checking account and use the debit card associated with it. So that unlocks a little bit more features right there if you had a checking account in tandem with the savings account on Capital One. Because moving to the cons of the savings account, there's no debit or ATM card. The interest is compounded monthly, and there are no 24/7 customer support. And so, like I say, some of the pros and cons depends on how what's important to you may not be a pro or a con, just listing them as, in general, as they would be listed. Now we're on the website for the Capital One 360 Performance Savings Account. Let's get a look at this. Check this out. There's that 1.3% APY. No fees, of course, no minimum. Easy account transfers. They have an automatic savings plan right there. As they say, create multiple performance savings accounts for each of your financial goals. So you can kind of set up, I guess, buckets in a sense, kind of like to save up for certain, things. Maybe you're saving up for a vacation or saving up for a house or car, something like that. If you want to need to be a little bit more organized or something like that, you can do something like that if you need it to be. Some people need that extra organization. Some people don't need to just, hey, put it all in a savings account. I know what's there. I know how much I need for this and that. And that's fine. That's how I work with it. But some people may need that extra structure or something. So some of these accounts have that kind of ability, whether it be buckets or multiple accounts and everything. Of course, they have the app available on the Apple and Google Play app stores. Mobile check deposit. Deposit checks almost anywhere, anytime. Just take a pic of the check with your phone. Usually just have to take a picture of the front of the check and the back of the check. And you have to write something on the back of the check like for deposit at that certain bank only or something like that is what I've done in the past. And let's see. Oh, yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier with the Capital One Cafe or branches near you. So you can find a location, enter your location and see what's around you as far as their physical locations. Like I said, there's not a ton of them, but they are scattered around in certain areas right there. Some frequently asked questions. And if you are at one of those locations, you can open an account at like one of the cafes or the branches or anything like that if you need that physical presence a little bit or something like that. So that's one thing that the Capital One has that many online savings accounts do not have, is that physical location right there. Unless you're doing an online savings account at a traditional bank, then you probably aren't going to get that over 1% interest rate, although as well though. And that is it for the Capital One 360 Performance Savings Account on the website and everything. Of course, they do have more information on their other accounts they have, the CDs, the kids savings accounts, the checking accounts, and everything like that. All right, now let's get to number 4. Ally Money Market Account. And I'll tell you why I chose the Ally Money Market Account instead of featuring the Ally Saves Account. But for the Ally Money Market Account, the pros, you got 1.4% APY. You got interest compounded daily. Got 24/7 customer support via phone call. Mobile check deposit. Reimbursement of up to $10 in ATM fees. No initial deposit required to start an account. All point ATM access, which all point ATMs there's a lot of them. They're in abundance. You can definitely use the map feature for this and see where they're located within your city, within your area. There's a lot of them around me. And so all point ATM access covers a large spectrum, large area right there. And next pro, debit card and checks available. Now onto the cons. There's no savings accounts tools with this account right here, like there is with the savings account. We'll talk about this in a second. And also there are no physical locations. And now for pretty much most of these accounts, savings accounts, online savings accounts in general, one reason why they're able to give you that higher percentage rate than a brick and mortar standard bank is because there are no physical locations. So like I said with the cons, they may be important to you depending on your situation. For me, having no physical location is not important to me with this kind of account. So the Ally Money Market Account gives you better access to your money than their online savings accounts because you can be issued a debit card and checks in the money market account. However, for the money market account, it doesn't have the savings tools like the buckets and rollover like the online savings account does. So if you didn't want the money market account, but you want a savings, you can have that savings account with the checking account. And you can have some things work in tandem as far as like with the card, the debit card, and accessing your funds and everything like that. So, but if you just wanted a savings account only with Ally, but you want access to your funds a little bit more readily available, and the savings tools aren't that important to you, then I would suggest a money market account instead of an online savings account with Ally. If I were to go with Ally and just wanted the savings account, that's what I would do. But if I wanted the saving tools, the buckets, the rollover and everything like that, and not getting access to my money wasn't that important as far as like an ATM, then I would go with the online savings tool. So here's the Ally website. As you can see, just how it maps out. I'm just getting a general overview of these websites so you get a kind of sense of how they look and how the features look and everything like that. So there's that e-check deposit, that mobile check deposit, everything right there. And the all point ATM access, say 43,000 all point ATMs can be used for free. There's that reimbursement of $10 per statement cycle for fees charged at other ATMs nationwide. Good 24/7 support, call, chat, or email. And they say like they have the balance tiers right here. However, the annual percentage rate, that interest rate, is for all tiers. So it's for the entire balance in your account and everything. So it says the APY we pay is based on a tier in which your end of day balance falls. And APY is a variable, like I've told you about that. They do change. But for right now, their APY of 1.4%, it applies to all tiers, all rates and everything. So all ranges for that. See right there you go. It says 1.4% on all balance tiers. And so, but let me show you the online savings account for Ally, so you could just kind of see some of the savings tools though, because that's the biggest difference right there. Is that of course the no debit or ATM card, and then the savings tool. So you get that debit ATM card with the money market account, but you don't get the savings tool. So this is the buckets right here. One of the savings tools right here. So say you can set money aside for what matters to you all in one place. Divvy up your savings without multiple bank accounts or hard math. So you got buckets, which you can kind of put things towards and everything like that. And then you have the boosters, the recurring transfers, the roundups, and the surprise savings, which you can link your checking account and everything to kind of find, they say, for safe to save money and then transfer it to your savings. I'm not sure, I've not used this feature, but it seems neat. I do like when companies are trying different ways to induce, to motivate savings, because it is important right there. Definitely, savings accounts are important. Saving money is definitely important. You definitely want to have that emergency fund, and it's just nice sitting on, you know, a certain amount of money and seeing it grow and growing and everything as well, just to, you know, just to fall back on if you need it, or if you don't need it. It's a peace of mind savings account. They do offer the peace of mind. They can offer that. So those are some savings tools and everything right there with Ally. So that's for the online savings account. So it depends on what's important to you, more important for you if you're going with Ally, as far as like where do you want to do the online savings account or the money market account right there. Just wanted to show you that on the website. But that is number 4, the Ally money market account. Number 3, the Discover Online Savings. Let's get to the pros. You got 1.5% interest APY. The interest is compounded daily. 24/7 customer support via phone call. No initial deposit required. Bank checks are available. Mobile check deposit. And they have a checking account option. Now for the cons, there are no debit or ATM card available, and there's no physical locations. Now, with that checking account option though, Discover Cashback Debit Checking Account adds additional features, including ATM and debit access to savings funds via transfers. So like I was saying at the beginning of the video, some of these accounts have more features available that open up to them if you have a checking account with that same company in tandem, because you can move funds around and access them via the debit card, ATM that's with your checking account, with your savings account basically. So like if you wanted to get money from your savings account, but you know you didn't have the money in your checking account, just move the money from your savings account to your checking account, then go to the ATM and access it that way. Or you can deposit money that way as well. You know, you need to deposit some money, you can deposit it, move it around like that. So typically the savings account can work in tandem with the checking account, the same company. However, it's not a requirement for these accounts so far. We'll get into an account that it is a requirement for later. But for this account, it's not a requirement, and these other accounts that have the option is not a requirement. You don't have to have the checking account with the online savings account. You can have either or just the online savings or anything like that. And here's the website for the Discover Online Savings Account. It said earn interest over 5 times the national savings average. That's with that 1.5 APY. Of course, they have the comparison tool right here. We can compare against certain banks. Of course, all those banks right there, like I said, if you got an interest underneath that 1%, if you're at one of these traditional kind of banks that they're traditional savings accounts getting this paltry, measly 0.05, 0.01% or something, you definitely got to. I mean, I'm not going to tell you, like I said, I can't tell you what to do. It's not financial advice, but wow, like, oh my goodness, I couldn't. I just could not have thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands or even hundreds of dollars in an account like that just sitting. Definitely want to get over 1% right there. And so they have the tool right here where you can add a few other banks. There are some other accounts that offer, let's see. We'll do those two right there. We'll see the results. So that, yeah, oh, well, they're in tandem. They don't have anybody that offers higher than them, but there are accounts that do offer higher than 1.5%, which you will see on my list right here in this video. But so Marcus Online Savings, they got that same amount. So they're telling you like, yeah, you're gonna get the same amount right there. But there's Ally getting close right there with them, which these rates do change. So next month, this could be different, you know, for sure. They could go, all could go up. One of them could go up, or who knows. So rest of this account right here, we got the fees. A lot of these accounts are really big on letting you know they're not big on charging fees. So no monthly maintenance fee, bank checks for free, you know, no fee for that, deposited item, stop payment orders, insufficient funds, all that. No fees for all that. Got a little tool right here to see how your wealth will build over a certain amount of years, depending on what you start with and everything. That interest. Here's that mobile check deposit. Easy transfers. Simple to use. Got the Face ID. A lot of these accounts pretty much have that, you know, if you have the Apple iPhone, got the Face ID, how you sign in, and Android, you know, you got the quick sign in and everything with that. So, and all these accounts, yep, App Store, Apple App Store, and Google Play, like these all have the mobile apps on both platforms right there. 24/7 customer service. Got the blog right there going on. So yeah, that is the website talking about the Discover Online Savings Account. So that is the Discover Online Savings Account. Next, number two is the Lending Club High Yield Savings. Now the pros of this one, got 2.07% interest APY, mobile check deposit, includes ATM card, MoneyPass and NYCE ATM support. Now these ATMs are all over the place as well. You check out the map for these online and everything. MoneyPass and NYCE ATMs are all over the place. So the support for that is very vast. You won't have a problem typically finding an ATM that supports that right there. And then they also have an integrated financial dashboard tool, which is a savings tool. Just you can help build your wealth, help grow your savings. Sometimes, you know, some people need that extra push or that extra feature to help them, you know, break down the savings, because it can be a lot. It can be overwhelming when you're trying to build up your savings. You're spending this, you're spending that, you got bills there, you're trying to move money around. So some of these tools can help that be easier to accomplish your goals with your savings account. And the next pro is that there is a checking account option. Now the cons with this Lending Club High Yield Savings, there's a $100 minimum to open the account. So to even open the account with this, you have to deposit, fund, you know, transfer funds or fund this account with $100 to open this account. There are no physical locations and there's no 24/7 customer support. So we're here at the website for the Lending Club personal banking savings account right there. We'll go to it. And of course, the online and mobile banking got 24/7 access to your account with all of these accounts right here. We got the internet connection. You've got an app, you got the phone, you've got a computer, you're going to have access to your accounts. One thing great about online savings accounts, of course, and you have access 24/7. Let's go to the savings account. Here, FDIC insured, of course, that 2.07 APY percentage rate on the entire balance. They're telling you about their certificates of deposits. You want to get a little bit more APY right there. Of course, no monthly fees, no minimum balance, free transfers. These are account features, you know, they're pretty much required to even be on my list right here in this video. And they have where you can compare different accounts that they offer. Lending Club High Yield Savings at 2.07% APY, freedom from fees. To apply online, you'll need 3 minutes, your social security number, $100 or more to open, but you can use a debit card or transfer from an existing bank account. There are a couple of awards, account features, we've gone over that. Oh yes, in the integrated financial dashboard. So this is their savings tool. Let's take a look at this right here. Right, so your personal financial dashboard, you can link external accounts, a holistic view of all your personal finances, view all your personal accounts in one place by linking external accounts, budget, spending, trends, your budgets, you can create a budget to stay on track and plan for whatever life takes you, spending, track your spending, see where your money is going each month, and trends to analyze trends to better know your spending habits right there. So what are you spending mostly on? Food, looks like maybe utilities, entertainment, thing like that. That is neat. So definitely see where you can cut back at and everything. Debts and net worth. Develop an action plan to pay off your debts. Explore different strategies that work for you. And net worth. You're worth a lot. We can help you find out how much. Right there. So that looks like it has net worth, budget, spending, history, debts. I like the way it's kind of laid out, the UI, the user interface. And that's it with the Lending Club savings account on their website right here. All right, now let's get to my number one favorite top online savings account. And the number one is the SOFI Savings and Checking. Okay, and we'll get into why I had to have the title of savings and checking with this account. And this is an actual account that I use, is the SOFI Savings. When I first initially used it, it was called the SOFI Money account, or Money, was it Money Mart? I think it was just the SOFI Money account. And so when SoFi got their bank charter to become more of a bank, we'll say, pretty much in a sense, there's more to it than that, of course, but then they were able to have, the checking and the savings, like initially like that. So with this one right here, though, when they split that, when they had the money account and they split it, they made it a requirement for you to have both. So with the SoFi savings account, you have to have a checking account. You can't have it standalone. And of course, you'll see it right there in the cons and everything. There's no standalone account. So if you want a savings with SoFi, well, you're getting a checking. You want a checking account with SoFi, well, you're also getting a savings. And they have different account numbers and everything, but they work in tandem. We'll get into it right here, because one without the other, the way they have it built is that you basically need both of them, anything. So it makes transfer of funds really easily too, back and forth. It goes pretty much instantaneously. It works very well as far as transferring funds and everything between the accounts. So for pros, in the pros, you've got 1% interest APY or 1.8% interest APY. Now, to get that higher interest, the 1.8%, you have to have direct deposit. So as you'll see right there, that's on the con side, because to get that higher interest rate, you have to have direct deposit with your accounts. If you don't have the direct deposit with your account, it will be 1%. And they actually recently raised that higher percentage rate, that 1.8% from, I believe it was 1.5% like a month or so ago. So they recently raised that. But to get that higher percentage rate, you have to do direct deposit. Now, you don't have to do direct deposit for your whole check amount to this account. You could do part of it. You could do 50% of it, 70%, 25%. I only do a part of my check from my normal income to this account to get the direct deposit. And I split it between banks and everything. It's just how I do personally. And I get that higher 1.8% interest rate. And that 1.8% interest rate applies to both the savings and the checking account. So you're getting that in the money in both accounts. They're separate accounts, but they're both going to get that 1.8% interest if you have direct deposit. If you don't, then they're both going to get that 1% interest. All right, for the rest of the pros, got a debit card included. You have mobile check deposit. You have all point ATM access. We talked about that earlier. All point ATMs, they're all over the place in my area and other areas that I travel to. So very vast arrangement of ATMs right there. Other pros, no initial deposit required. They have savings tools. They have vaults, which you can move money to save towards a specific goal. Or they have roundups. They have various tools with SoFi savings tools right there. They have bank checks available. I've actually ordered some before. Came pretty quickly, and I've used them. They have bank checks available, and there's no fee for that. And then they have extra dual account benefits. And I'm gonna go show you the website and everything. There's a lot. SoFi is basically trying to be the one-stop shop for your banking needs. I mean, they have, of course, loans. They have a credit card. They have investing. They have crypto. They have a lot going on with SoFi right here. So, which could be a pro or it could be a con for you. It could be a distraction. Maybe you don't have to have all that. In this case, you have to have the savings and the checking, but you don't have to do the investing with them or the credit card and all that other stuff or a loan and anything. But it's more of a pro, I say, than a con, because it is neat having a lot of your, income or a lot of your money in the same kind of place sometimes when you want to do you have certain goals in mind. Like I don't have all my money in one place, but I have some things going on with SoFi. I have some things going on with Bank of America, some things going on with E-Trade, something, I'm spread all over the place, but that's just me in general. I'm into finance, I'm into money, of course, and I'm into investing heavily and retirement and all that. So I'm kind of spread out, but I'm also in SoFi. I do like SoFi, and I do like that they are trying to be a one-stop shop. I can do a lot with SoFi, and it's great. But let's get to the cons because it's not all perfect. It's not all great. So the cons. The first thing we've already talked about, the direct deposit required for the 1.8%. There are no physical locations, which for me isn't important. There's no 24/7 customer support. They have their hours listed and everything for the phone. A lot of these companies, they also have where you can get to them via Twitter and messaging and things like that. And sometimes I found that to be somewhat quicker to get an answer. Sometimes they want you to email something or things like that. But I'd sometimes go that route with that. So 24/7 customer support isn't that important to me. There's no standalone account. We talked about that. You got a savings, you got to have the checking, vice versa. Also cons, there's no reimbursement for out-of-network ATM fees. So, and SoFi is really big on no fees. So in a lot of these accounts, like I said, no monthly fees for all these accounts. But SoFi, you'll see, we're going to go over the website some. They're all about no fees, no fees, no fees. So if you were to be charged an out-of-network fee for ATM, some of these other accounts we've talked about, they will do a reimbursement. SoFi, not necessarily. They're going to make sure you don't get fees on their side, but they can't necessarily make sure you don't get fees from another side. They can't do any reimbursement right there as of now. And they've changed their reimbursement ATM fee structuring somewhat. So this could change, and this may go back. And so it's one of those things, like I said, like the interest rates, things can change with these accounts, definitely. Another con, the interest compounded monthly. But for me, that's not a big deal. I've talked to you about that at the beginning of the video, compounded monthly versus daily. And then also the next con, there's a $4.95 fee for depositing cash. Now for SoFi, this one right here is probably the biggest con that I would say for me personally. I don't do a lot of depositing cash. Usually when I put money in my SoFi, like I said, part of it is direct deposit and I do transferring from other accounts. So, but if I wanted to deposit cash with SoFi, I would have to go to a certain location. I believe it's some of like Walgreens, Walmart, and go through a process of telling the cashier, hey, I want to deposit money into this account. And I believe it's called Green Point Access or Green something Access. And then there's a fee that'll be added on to what I'm depositing and everything at $4.95 what it is. So it's a bit of a hassle to deposit cash with this account, especially considering that they have a debit card. So you would think you could just go to the ATM and deposit cash. You could withdraw without the fee and everything, but you can't really deposit. So it's kind of odd right there. And hopefully that'll be something they'll get rid of in the future. But for me, it's the biggest con, but it's also not that big of a con really to me in general, because when I want to deposit cash, I use a different bank for that. And if I want to move that cash to SoFi, then it's just another step. It's just me depositing cash with that other bank and then moving it within the app or online to SoFi. So not that big of a deal for me personally. I would say it's the biggest con of the cons for this on this side for me for this bank, but it's also not a big con. So those are the reasons why I choose SoFi as my savings accounts. There's a lot of pros with SoFi, and I like to use them, like I say, for savings, for checking. I also use them for investing. I've dabbled in crypto with them as well a little bit, but I use other accounts and exchanges for that mostly. But yeah, I like their investing platform. It's been kind of gaining some ground. They had just added margin. I don't trade on margin though, but they need to probably add options trading. They don't have that yet. So then they've got their own little, ETFs and everything. Like I say little, not little, but they're composed of big major companies and everything. So they have their own ETFs and everything, and that's neat. But I do like them for trading. They do have IPO access, which that is up and downs, this last year of the market. There's definitely, I was involved in the Rivian IPO and then the Nubank IPO, which, the Rivian went up and then it went down, how the market's been. We won't get into that. It's not about this in this video, but yeah, so they do have some neat features in their invest. So I use that as well. So that's one reason why SoFi. But if I didn't use invest and all those other in features like that, I would still use SoFi for the savings because I do like all the features. Like I said, there's a lot of member benefits. And full disclosure, I'm also a ambassador of SoFi. I'm a SoFi ambassador. So I do surveys for them and try to help them improve their functionings and features and things like that. Not saying I'm the only one. There's several of us that are ambassadors. You may even be one of them. So I am that. I don't get paid for that. I don't get paid from SoFi. I'm not getting paid for this video or anything like that. So definitely not. I don't get paid to use SoFi or anything like that. I'm using them on my own free will, and they're my number one choice of my opinion. So throwing that out there as well. But as I stated right there, SoFi does not have a standalone savings account. When you open an account, you will get both a savings and a checking account. Let's go through the website here and kind of show you how the website looks and all these different features and accounts and everything. Like I said, there's a lot going on with SoFi, so let's check that out. Now let's check out the website of SOFI, which stands for Social Finance. And as I was stating, SoFi is definitely trying to be, could be, can be your one-stop shop for banking right here and just finance in general almost, because Look at all this. This is what all they offer right here. Of course, invest, personal loans, student loans, banking. We won't go over all this because I didn't do it for the other, accounts and everything. But this is how SoFi is and how they've been growing right here so rapidly, because they are definitely adding new products and features and everything. But we are focused on the banking aspect. So let's get to the checking and savings because they are linked together. Can't have one without the other. So it says better banking is here with 1.8% APY and no account fees. And you can get paid up to 2 days early, pay no account fees or overdraft fees, and cash in on up to $300 when you sign up and set up direct deposit. So they do have a lot of promos going on with SoFi and everything, pretty much always seems like going on. And I'd actually have a referral code down in the description. I believe right now, if you sign up for an account and just deposit like $10, they'll give you $25 and they'll give me like $50, full disclosure. I get something as well, but that is what was going on with the promotion right there for the referral. So referral links are down in the description, but yeah, they have also promos going on for direct deposit right there going on currently. So, and the 2 days paid early, that is neat. I definitely, when I have my part of my direct deposit set up with SoFi and I do get paid 2 days earlier with that, I have that going into my account at SoFi 2 days before I get it going to my other bank because I have my direct deposit split up pretty much. So yeah, that definitely does happen. And so no account fees. Of course, they have the all point access for the ATMs, 55,000. They're saying fee-free ATMs. So that number, I believe on another account, it says 40 something thousand, maybe. Okay, somebody's, I guess they added more and they have it updated on the other website and everything. But just, yeah, as you can see, Allpoint has a lot of ATMs. And of course, they have cashback deals going on because they're so linked with the checking account and debit card and everything like that. They have a lot of benefits and features and everything. You can check out all the member benefits and everything like that. It's a lot going on with SoFi right here. Automatic savings. And of course, they're comparing to the national average right there, that 0.03%. They're saying is the average checking account. Oh, yeah. And typically, checking account APY percentage rates are lower than savings accounts. So with SoFi having a 1.8% on a checking account, that is impressive right there because the average checking account right there, they're saying is 0.03% interest, where the average savings is like that 0.38% interest. So as you see that difference right there, but SoFi is bringing the 1.8% up to 1.8%, I should say, for both accounts, or 1% if you don't do the direct deposit. So they're saying you'll earn more interest in 1 week than you would in 1 year in a big bank's checking or savings account. Mobile banking, of course. Got the app, frequently asked questions. Let's see if we got one good one we can pick out here. Oh yeah, so how do I withdraw and deposit cash? So this is what we're saying about the ATMs. You can do some withdrawing right there and you won't pay any fees as long as you go to one of their supported ATMs right there. And this is that part I was talking about is the con that sticks out the most to me with this is depositing cash. So they're saying in order to deposit money, simply visit a retail location that offers green dot services. That's the name of it right there. So green dot services, of course, you can go to that and see who offers that service and everything. And you can learn more how to deposit cash right here. So you just, you tell the cashier you want to deposit cash through Green Dot using your SoFi Money MasterCard debit card right there. And see, that was the name of the account before, SoFi Money. I'm wondering if this is going to update and change soon because this was a year ago. And this was back when SoFi just had the SoFi Money account and not the SoFi checking and savings. So something tells me I'm going to definitely reach out to them and I'll try to leave it in the comments to see if I get any information back. But that I'm thinking this is going to have to change soon with them having a checking and savings account now. It seems like you would just be able to deposit cash at an ATM. But as of right now on their website, it's still stating that to deposit cash, you have to go through one of the retail locations at, like one of the, retail locations that offers that Green Dot platform. And you'll have to pay that $4.95 fee right there. So, but of course, I kind of skirt around that depositing cash by, depositing it at a different bank and transferring over to SoFi if I want to do that. And let's see. And we've gone over the interest rates. Pretty much all these questions we've already gone over and everything. Minimum age is going to be 18 years old to open that bank account. And what's required is pretty much going to be the same across all these accounts right here. Pretty much open up an account. And yeah, direct deposit fees. Of course, they're really big on having no fees, no account fees, and no service charges. Area on the fees and everything. No account fees is the way it should be. They go over all that. No ATM fees. And then, of course, they say right there, that being said with their ATM fee, they say our fee structure and ATM fee reimbursement structure is subject to change at any time. So they do have that going on right there. And full transparency. Here's some other no fees right here. First replacement card, stop payment, additional replacement card. So they've got they're big on the no fee aspect for sure. Account opening fees and active, we're going over that, just kind of restating it all right here. But yeah, see that 000 all down that list right there. Now, of course, SoFi has the vaults and roundup saving feature, which we've talked about as far as like moving money to certain areas, grouping them together and everything, or the roundups to roll over certain amounts and everything to your savings. But then also SoFi has the Relay, SoFi Relay, which helps you set budgets, categorize your spending, and spot upcoming bills, all for free right here. This is their budgeting and spending tool right here. So it says, say hello to the budget planner. You got free credit score and credit utilization insights, getting insights on your spending to see how much money you're spending, each month, and how much money is getting earned and everything right there across your SoFi accounts and external accounts. There, and it says, what accounts can I link? You can link your deposit account, checking, savings, investment, retirement accounts, as well as credit cards, student loans, mortgages, and other liabilities right there. And it says if you're not able to link your account, you will be able to manually add an account or asset like an owned car or home so that you are able to see your entire net worth. So they got that going on. So yeah, it's just another tool right there with SoFi with the spending and budgeting within the app that you can use right there for your goals, your financial goals right there, which can be definitely really neat. So that's the website for the SoFi checking and savings account. All right, folks, and that is it with the video, the top 5 high interest online savings accounts, common features, and pros and cons. Hope you all enjoyed it. I'm gonna try to do these videos more often, throughout the years and everything, throughout the months, the top 5 online savings accounts, online checking accounts, maybe retirement accounts, different things like that. This is not financial advice or investment advice. It's for educational and entertainment purposes only. Hope you all have an awesome day. Take care.